Welcome, everybody, to Season 1 of WWE Rewritten. That's right, the series as a whole has gotten a huge facelift. We've gone to, quote, Season 1, and Season 1 is, the whole kind of methodology behind the naming of that is just kind of I'm trying to think of the word to use. It represents the change that the series has had. Because right now, whereas the series has been, small feuds going in, kind of like in real life WWE, where post WrestleMania the feuds aren't as big, but now we have some serious shit going on with The Miz. If you didn't watch Bragging Rights, The Miz is the new WWE champion. He didn't have a match. There wasn't supposed to be a WWE championship match, but he just sauntered right in the ring with Triple H and Steph and just won the belt. So, are we gonna get an explanation of that? Does WWE find a way to fuck simple shit up? That's gonna be a yes. But before we do that, we have some dark match action in which the Young Bucks take on Law and Disorder. Young Bucks get the quick win with the bang for your buck. It's standard stuff at this point. You should see it coming. And we have the big segment. We have the introduction of the Dynasty. So the Dynasty are coming out. First, Triple H and Stephanie make their way first out, and King of Kings is playing the official theme song, by Motorhead. They soak in the crowd reaction, which is just boos aplenty, until The Miz saunters out with the WWE title. They're all dressed in suits. The champion is new friends. There's just nuclear heat at this point. They all get in the ring, and Triple H gets a microphone, and he starts to speak. He goes, "Now, I'm not going to explain just my actions last night. We're going to talk a lot. I'm going to be honest with you. We're doing a long segment, brother. If you want to know, you should have ordered the damn pay-per-view, what happened last night. But we'll address that problem in a second. For now, I'm going to go over a little bit of everything that's happened in the past 6 months. I'm not going to spoil everything. We are the reason that fans are tuning in. But in order to give the fans a proper understanding, we're going to talk a little bit. Around WrestleMania, but even before that, me and Stephanie saw the change WWE was going through, the ratings we pulled, the money we were making, the popularity the company had reached. Hell, last night, 71,000 people stopped by to see Bragging Rights. Not SummerSlam, not WrestleMania, but Bragging Rights, a historical B event. We've reached the point of no return, basically. WWE has become the face of pro wrestling. However, as I said last night, WWE isn't just pro wrestling. It's sports entertainment at its core, at the forefront. Wrestling obviously has its place. I'm not stupid. But it's sports entertainment. You guys know that. We all know that. This show, Monday Night Raw, has started to beat major shows, major names in the entertainment industry around the world. More people have their eyes on me right now than The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, or NCIS could ever hope to have. We're a global brand, and when you're a global brand, you need to make changes accordingly. Kofi Kingston was a great champion for a wrestling show, but Raw has become a show bigger than wrestling. And as WWE CEO, I couldn't have sat back and watched this company become a laughingstock. With Vince McMahon, if he was still around here, if Dad was still around here, I wouldn't want to know what had become of this company. With the board of directors at the helm, I wouldn't want to have known what have come with this company. They weren't able to ever even comprehend the level of which we're at right now, and that's why I needed to make my move and become CEO. Now, to address a rumor, and I'll get onto this later on, but John Cena's attack on the board of directors wasn't part of any plan of ours. It was mostly a convenience. It was really convenient, actually. And I'll deal with them later on, but, if you're watching, thanks, John, I appreciated it, kind of. Oh, and the whole Cyber Sunday thing, that was just fake. A little makeup and Stephanie's acting can go a long way to convince your dad, your father-in-law, to have a match with a wrestler. But again, we'll get onto those things at another time. Let's focus back on about the visions, the big visions I have for this company. And many of them, unfortunately, don't include guys like Kofi Kingston, guys of that caliber. Now, Kofi and his friends, they aren't fired. That's not what I'm getting at. They aren't going anywhere. They're not going to be punished. They're not suspended. They're not going to be punished too bad. They are going to be punished for making Raw fail at bragging rights. But we needed someone like The Miz. Someone who can handle himself in the presence of movie stars, in interviews, and across the world. Kofi just isn't that type of superstar. Not yet, at least. Maybe someday. Speaking of superstars of that caliber, I have some new members of the Dynasty to introduce. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the Dynasty that have been on this as long as we've had known. Your U.S. champion, The Big Show, and Kane. And Big Show and Kane come out. Kane's doing corporate Kane. He's got the suit, no mask. People probably pisses that off. And then, you got the Big Show just coming around, with the U.S. title, but in the, in the fancy suit. And he goes, these men are in the Dynasty because, A, they have the caliber. I mean, they're legends of the industry. They command respect anywhere they go, whether it be a wrestling ring or a movie set. But at the same time, it's also nice to have muscle like that around, if you know what I mean. Now, I want to address the rest of the locker room if anyone wants to. They could always go to SmackDown and the bright lights scare them. If that kind of fame that Raw is, it scares them. That place is a hive for wrestling unpredictability. It's chaos. Always has been, always will. If you would rather deal with John Cena assaulting people than deal with us, that's perfectly fine. And SmackDown is fine. You see, in the entertainment industry, when you have a show like Raw, it's good to have a counterbalance. Because there are people, obviously, that don't like Raw. They would rather watch SmackDown. And you can still watch SmackDown. SmackDown can be the C show, Superstar is the B show, because it's a little bit of both, and Raw will be the flagship. Now, one last thing, speaking of Raw, next month we have 2 huge events here in the WWE, and they're brand-exclusive pay-per-views. Raw's event is the return of King of the Ring. Now, I know Raw GM Austin, we'll deal with that later, had a bracket, but I revised the bracket a little bit, and the bracket looks like this. You're seeing it on screen here, and those matches will start in earnest next week on Raw. And I know it's exciting, but one final thing is, I'm not going to tell you guys in the audience and out there in television land how to deal with this change. I know change can be hard. But what you're looking at right now is the Dynasty, the true authority in WWE. So in all, it doesn't really matter what you want. We'll still get your money. We'll still get your views. You'll still buy the events. We've always been pulling the strings. And we're going to continue to do so for their foreseeable future. And with that, the Dynasty make their way out of the ring. And with that, I think one of the biggest impacts in the series has been made. We have a new group, a new legendary set of wrestlers. This group is here to stay, and I feel that their influence, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, we'll just have to wait to see. I mean, I think we know one person who thinks it's bad, Kofi Kingston. Well, oddly, isn't here tonight. Maybe we'll see him later on the show. He did get the shit beat out of him by, Triple H, The Miz, and John Cena in one night, and that really doesn't do good for you. And after that, we have a segment. We see Stone Cold and friends reacting to the Dynasty. We have John Morrison, the Tokyo Pimp, CM Punk. They all just happen to kind of be there. And Austin obviously is furious. He's like, who the fuck does Triple H think he is doing that? CM Punk just has his hands stretched. He's like, what did I say? He's like, I've literally been saying this for like 6 years now, that Triple H is a piece of shit, and then this happens, like, someone give me money, and even John Morrison, who hates CM Punk, and is literally feuding, he's like, yeah, you kind of got a point, and then Joe Pimp and his cavalcade of women just kind of sit there, and they're just, like, thinking about it, they're just kind of in the back there, they're, like, blocking the room, and Stone Cold is obviously pissed off, so not a positive reception to the Dynasty in the back there. But we'll just have to keep seeing going. In a 97A match, Insane pick up a much-needed win. They haven't had a lot of success lately, but they pick up a great match and a great win over England's finest in 1736 when Kevin Steen defeated Nicholas Magnus with the package pile driver. Good thing it wasn't Doug Williams. He was kind of old, It probably might have killed the motherfucker. But all things considered, great match pickup Insane. And, we're looking for challengers for the tag titles, so you'd figure maybe that's going to get them somewhere. Who knows? And in kind of a rest-up match, an extremely short match, it only goes 4 minutes, Daniel Bryan defeats the Ultimate Jabroni, Abraham Washington, by submission with a triangle choke, because Daniel Bryan's just that good. But after the match, all of a sudden, the Wyatt family come out, the lights go on, lights come back off at their standard affair. They just lay Daniel Bryan out. Bray Wyatt hits him with Sister Abigail, Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, probably like a double powerbomb type maneuver. And they just lay waste to poor Daniel Bryan while Bray Wyatt laughs. Bray Wyatt said, the last Raw, that this wasn't over. So, I mean, you kind of figure Daniel Bryan should have known that. But then again, Daniel Bryan usually isn't, his forte is wrestling, not dealing with spooky, supernatural shit. So I guess you do got to give him some leeway. But it looks like that feud is still being built up. And we see Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. They're arriving to the ring, Paul Heyman by his side, and they're confronted by an angry Stone Cold Steve Austin, who he's pretty much straight up. He's like, I am dealing with so much shit right now, and Brock Lesnar is not one of the larger problems at hand here. And Paul says, no, you are dealing with Brock, and he is a larger issue, because we're watching the show as we're on our way. Tell me, why isn't Brock Lesnar in the King of the Ring brackets? And Austin replies, okay, Triple H messed up my brackets. I had picked a bunch of superstars, and now the names are just all filtered out weird. And B, Brock wasn't on the original bracket to begin with because he cost his team, Team Raw, the chance to win at bragging rights. We probably wouldn't be having this issue if Brock just didn't stay out of his business. The Raw GM says he already has a match made for King of the Ring pay-per-view, though. It's Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar, and while he had it, since they like to fight across the ring, why not make it just a street fight? Just so that they can get the anger out of their system, so never has to deal with these two going at it again. Finally, Austin relieves Brock, giving him the night off like he did Randy Orton earlier in the night. So Brock obviously pissed off, Paul Heyman pissed off, and Stone Cold. A lot of people are pissed off on this episode of Monday Night Raw, but I guess you could kind of see where that's coming from. And in a decent Divas match, AJ Lee defeated Brie Bella after submission with a Black Widow because Astrid Dunla made her presence. Now Astrid's kind of taken a back seat in the recent links, but she springs up again to cost Brie Bella the match and to kind of give the Coven story a little bit of heat. But AJ Lee, still your Divas champion. It's been Divas champion for quite a long time. And she's still, still the champ, still putting out 94s on Raw because she's a beast. But after that, Madison Lane comes out to the ring. No gimmicks, no brawls are happening. She just has a mic and she goes, "Listen, AJ, I underestimated you. I respect you now. A lot of things have changed since our matchup at WrestleMania. A lot of things have changed up since our match at SummerSlam. With King of the Ring coming and the Divas title supposed to be defended at the event, I want one more match with you, AJ." And the crowd's probably like, yeah, because they like that match. And AJ goes, "You know what? I accept, but on one condition. There has to be a stipulation." Madison Lane's like, "That's fine, all that." And Julie goes, "I don't want you challenging for this title again, so I want to prove to you that I can beat you. I want to prove that in a 2 out of 3 falls match." And the crowd's like, yeah, because 2 out of 3 falls isn't exciting. But then again, it is King of the Ring. It's not like a gimmicky pay-per-view. But Madison Lane's like, "Yep, you totally got it. 2 out of 3 falls match. You and me. Let's go, bro." She calls him bro. She turns into Matt Riddle for all of a sudden for some reason. But, there's that. But yeah, no, we have 2 matches made for King of the Ring now. Although both of them have nothing to do with King of the Ring. So, I guess lol. And next up, we have an awful match in which the awful team of Mamma Mia takes on the even worse team of Crime Time when Brodus Clay defeats JTG with a funky snake attack from Planet Funk, the signature tag move. And actually, it's kind of funny that I said Crime Time were the worst team because they actually did better than Santino and Brodus Clay. At the beginning of this save, Santino was an upper mid-carder, and I'm happy to report he's now a lower mid-carder since we have jobbed him out so much. So all is right in the world again. He was also the U.S. champion because, 2012 was a dark time in pro wrestling, I guess. And we get cut back and we see the Dynasty. They're in Triple H's office partying. There's hors d'oeuvres and all that kind of bullshit that you would expect. And all of a sudden, Stone Cold bursts through the door, and he's definitely mad as hell. He asked Triple H and Steph, who the hell do they think they are booking matches and switching shit on his show? Triple H nonchalantly, and I totally spelled that wrong, tells Austin that really Monday Night Raw is their show since he's the CEO, and any kind of thing that Austin does completely is overshadowed by his position in the company. And he was going to give Austin his performance review anyway. It sucks, unsurprisingly. And Triple H says that he decided to book the main event tonight's show as The Miz, because, we should all be watching The Miz. And he's going to go one-on-one with Yujiro Takahashi. As well as the next match, right up next, is a punishment for John Morrison, Mr. John Morrison, for failing to bring Raw up to the standards it needs to be. The opponent is a mystery opponent that Triple H invited to Raw. And for some added protection, CM Punk's going to be on commentary. Stephanie tells Austin to get out of the CEO's office before he gets fired, or even worse, gets hurt. Sensing the number games is against him with, Kane and The Miz and Big Show and Triple H, Steve backs off, at least for now, because, Stone Cold Steve Austin's not the type of guy to really do that, if you know what I mean. It looks like we know who was brought back. Brock Lesnar strolls right down to the ring, an absolute cocky smirk on his face. Paul Heyman, cocky smirk somewhere out there. Stone Cold Steve Austin is pissed off. Triple H brought Brock Lesnar in to beat John Morrison. And this match, John Morrison obviously puts up a good match, but it doesn't go 19 minutes just because it's, two good athletes. No, Brock probably wins it about the 10-minute mark, but the referee noticeably doesn't really do anything. He's like, Brock just kind of does whatever he wants. He counters stuff, he uses weapons. It's a punishment for John Morrison, so we clearly know that the philosophy is out the window. And also the whole time CM Punk's on commentary like, yeah, I don't work with Triple H, and I just wanted to make my feelings known that I fucking hate Triple H. Like, he probably drops like 17 F-bombs on Triple H and stuff. He's like, fuck Triple H, fuck Steph, fuck the Dynasty. I hate John Morrison, but they also can, eat my ass and shit, because they're absolutely awful and I hate them. So CM Punk probably has a good time of about 20 minutes watching John Morrison get the shit beat out of him, because that's how you punish people on Raw, I guess. And speaking of people that Randy Orton says fuck that too, and he just RKO's Brock Lesnar. He goes yeet and he just hits the RKO. So it looks like he told Austin he as well can take that going home for the night business and shove it up his ass. Although I don't think there's ever been an episode of Raw or SmackDown or any WWE show where someone is given the night off and they don't show up. So you kind of figured that both of them, like him and Triple H, would know this happened. But Randy Orton makes his statement known. He's ready for that street fight against Brock Lesnar. And maybe Brock Lesnar's taking Randy Orton pretty lightly. A dream match, as at this point this match hasn't happened. It happened it had happened, I believe, in OVW, but no one like, that's not from like the fucking Tennessee mountains watched OVW. So yeah, pretty exciting stuff going on there. And then we have a segment in which the Shield are in their usual kind of hiding spot. They got the camera. It looks like they're about to cut something when something startles them, as Chris Jericho found their spot where they hide out. I don't know how Chris Jericho found the spot, but the camera's kind of zooming in. It's kind of like a Blair Witch shit on Chris Jericho, and he's like, so tell me, guys, what did you have to do with the Dynasty? And Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose is like, we didn't have anything to do with the Dynasty. We kind of like the concept. We're definitely on board with people who like justice, and like Jericho's like doing like the mouth alligator like blah 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 bullshit. And they're like, what do you want? And Jericho's like, no, I just wanted to kind of see what you guys had to do. I figured the Dynasty wouldn't let you guys in anyway, since you guys kind of suck. And with that, Jericho has to run as the Shield chase him off like school children for insulting them. So yeah, pretty fun segment. I was originally gonna write this one out, but I figured I could just wing it. And I believe is the main event next. Yeah, in the main event of the show, definitely not as good as it could have been, but all things well. In a good match though, The Miz defeats Yujiro Takahashi with the skull-crushing finale. But during the match, Kofi Kingston's music hit for a little bit, but Miz was still able to reverse the distraction and pick up the win. So the WWE Champion picking up a nice, solid win. So it looks like Kofi Kingston is not in the building. Just kidding, he is, bitch. Kofi Kingston goes ape shit. on The Miz. He just goes right to town. He's beating Kofi, and he's beating The Miz left, right, left, right, left, right. He probably gets a chair at some point. The Dynasty and a bunch of security run down. And not like WWE security where it's like 2 dudes. No, I'm talking like there's like 80 dudes and then Jamie Noble all run down. Kofi Kingston starts swinging for the fences. He hits as many of the development talent as he can before he rolls right back out of the ring. Triple H and Kane, Big Show, Steph, they all look pissed off as Kofi Kingston has made his statement. He is not happy about losing his WWE title in such a way. And you gotta think, Kofi Kingston was pretty much betrayed on all levels. He had just talked about in the same show where The Miz did that, he was like, yeah, The Miz is a pretty respectful dude, kind of changing his ways. But nope, it's definitely not that. So it looks like Kofi has gotten one up on The Miz. What does this mean for the future of the WWE title? And we're gonna end our show there. 93A, pretty good Raw. Really excited for us now that we got the main storyline. We have the Dynasty, the Game of Thrones storyline. A storyline which I've had planned for so long, and I'm finally so happy we've gotten to this point. And I want to thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you guys for the next episode of WWE SmackDown.